Okay, testing. Is it working right now? Okay, I guess it's working. It's working? Okay, it's working, kinda. Alright, hold on. So yeah, I have a little bit of IRL behind the scenes update for you guys on chat before I actually log in to play. So I am muted. There's Hero over here. Yay, my Iron Merchant supplier. Yeah. So before I actually log into Minecraft and like disassociate with real life, a few things happen. So currently in Singapore right now, the weather's kind of shit. It's kind of humid. It's kind of rainy. It's kind of hot all at the same time. Perfect for breeding mayflies. So of all the thousands of lights that surround them in this brightly lit country, 2 of them had to come to my room. So I had to lure it out. Had to get rid of them by flushing them down the toilet. Very inhumane. I know, war crimes. Committing Minecraft in real life war crimes. So after I did that, there was like that drama, and today is like day 2 of my period, which means I'm extremely tired right now. And then at work, it was like work. We're in busy month, busy period, because like, you know, quarter closing, accounts, you guys know, right? Accounts, we have busy periods and we have periods of, oh, we can finally breathe. Yeah, right now it's like kind of busy period. Ended today, just today. But while I was collating the last of the documents and trying to scan them over on a printer that refuses to scan, the lights went out. So I was like, oh, okay, well, power trip, that's fine. Like, I'm not afraid of the dark. It's fine. I can handle it, right? I'm strong. I'm a very brave person. But when it power trips and your main circuit controls the lock of the door, it is an automatic lock, and I got trapped in the room. I was like, oh my god. And I had no idea if anybody was out there. My laptop was on, my phone was on. I had no internet, but I had data. So I was like, you know what? If nobody comes to me in 5 minutes, I'm gonna have to call my boss, like, save me. Just basically, save me, boss, I'm trapped. Yeah, but eventually the power did come back on, and I was traumatized for a little bit. I was like, oh my god, this can happen. I don't know how to disarm an automatic lock, I'm just gonna say. So yeah, today has been a day full of, wow, I didn't know that could happen.
No. What did I do?
Okay, so my wife is here. Time to give her attention. I will unmute now. Hello, Cookie.
Hello. How are you doing?
Here, I was just telling Chad an update RL was kind of crazy today.
Today was crazy.
Like, like for example, Winchester! Winchester! Ah! It's Winchester. Winchester! Ah, it's so cute. Also, who is that? Is that Hero? That's not Hero. Hold on a damn second. Who? Grungus. Shut up, Grungus. Oh my god.
Hi, don't say that.
Hi. Yes, now you have my full attention. What was that? What do you want? Who are you?
Grung is always just that. It's his catchphrase.
He was like, give me attention now. I'm gonna drop bombs on your house until you give me attention now. What do you want?
You just say hi.
He just wanted to say hi. Yeah, okay. Chat says hi to you as well. And Chat is redeeming a lot of things. What? Okay, yeah, hold on. I need to do streamer stuff. Is anybody else actually streaming, or can I hot mic?
I'm not streaming right now, no.
Okay, not streaming. Hero is in a cave? Hero is in a what? Eh? Oh. Wait, the iron! Where did the iron go? Oh god. Wait, no, before the iron. Yes, Chat, I see you. Thank you for claiming first. Discarded child. Who's that? Roll call. I have a kid. Child is here. I am Doubt is here. Oh, that's rare. First alternate. We like a first alternate. Thank you for the claim. Hydrate? What the fuck? I just came out from the shower. How much do you want me to hydrate? Dude. Yeah, speaking of that, it's like fucking humid. Thank you for the hydration. It was fucking humid. There were 2 dumbass flies with no brain cells. They came in my room because they were attracted to the light. And then I had to flush them down the toilet. I guess that counts as hydrating, you know? So I was committing war crimes. And then it worked, like I was telling Chat earlier before Chat actually appeared, because I I talked to Chat when Chat is not here. Haha. Basically, I was at work. I had work, and let me just stare at Winchester because there's a cute cat, cute calico. My wife got Winchester for me. Look at that, she's the best. Right, so basically, at work,
Yeah.
power went out, lights went out. I wasn't afraid of the dark. I was like, oh well, yeah, power trip. But the worst part was, I wanted to go find a circuit breaker, which is outside. I realized the door couldn't be unlocked because it was an electromagnetic lock and it operated on electricity. So when the power is cut, I'm like, I'm trapped. That was one of a moment. But my laptop was on. I had power in the laptop and on my phone, and I had data on my phone. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna sit in the dark right here with no ventilation whatsoever in a room that I'm trapped in and wait for 5 minutes. And if nobody comes, I'm gonna have to call my boss or the police to knock the doors down or something. Thankfully, the power did come back in like 2 minutes. So I'm like, I'm saved. Got no idea what happened there though. Like I heard something goes, and then it was just lights gone. And I was in the middle of sorting out documents. The printer jammed and everything died. I was like, so that can happen. I have no idea how to disarm automatic locks. Good job. I don't know. I might have to Google how to do that just in case, you know, to prevent that kind of incident from happening. It's rare. I've been there for like 2 years. It's only happened once. And I've been at my home for more than 2 years. Like more like for like a period of time, like very long, like my whole life. And the oven can do that to my house circuit, so I shouldn't have been that surprised. Except that a lot of things in my house are mechanical, so I don't find myself trapped. I can just open the window and jump out of it. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's the story for chat today. I know, kind of crazy. It's like a regular Tuesday in my life at this point of time. It's not even copium, guys. It's just life. Also, I see Grungus in chat. Hold on a damn second. I'm a streamer. I know how to do this. Wait. There we go. Is that the one? Okay. Yeah, let me do.
Wait, I didn't know you
I know how to
stream
do
on
this.
Twitch.
I
know.
Yeah, no, because it's easier to tag you guys on Twitch. Where is Krunkus?
That's me.
Ankus. Say hi, I'm giving you a shout out. I don't know anybody else who
Hello.
streams. Scarlet Child is
I
not a
definitely
streamer.
stream.
You definitely stream. Okay. Granga streams. Moon streams. Moon is actually admin. Oh wait, the chat wall is not up. Perfect. Okay. Okay, I think I removed the chat wall. It used to be on Ben. You guys know, right? It used to be subscribers only, not followers only, subscribers only. Because there were some people who were being really annoying and I hate Twitch. Did I manage to? Yeah, okay, there we go. Is I Am Doubt a streamer? I have no idea. I don't think so. Okay, you know what? Just to be safe, I'm gonna shout out everyone. I Am Doubt.
Oh my god. Wait, is that new art? Your like PNG thing?
That's been there for some time. I use this because my VTuber will not load with Minecraft. It will crash and it will be really terrible, so I might have to have a workaround.
Oh god, it looks very cute.
It is. This was actually a fundraising art commission for someone. Also, my Minecraft is like this, kind of crazy though.
If you're tapped out your Minecraft to save FPS, apparently it does not.
Oh,
So you have to tab in for, you know.
I see. It's okay. We watch PowerPoint slideshows. It's okay. I need to give shout out. Okay, I gave everybody a shout out. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, nice. Nicely done. Alright, everybody gets a shout out. I don't know who you are, if you're a streamer, but as long as you appear here, you are part of chat. Chat gets shout out today. Special service only for today, guys. I Am Doubt used to be on YouTube, right? YouTube, yeah, YouTube. Okay, great. It's okay. It's okay if you're a viewer or you are a streamer. Everybody gets shout out in chat. If I see it, if I don't, then it's Moon's job to shout out. Oh, what the fuck is that shout out? Everyone is awesome is actually a streamer name. Holy shit! Wait, for real? Yo, that's a real person's account. Why are we giving shoutouts to random people? Moon, you're a mod. You freaking. Okay, well, Why is my chat also chaotic? I don't know. Hello, Winchester. Your addition to our family, as well as a husband and a child. Look at that. She's been working, man. Winchester, you're crazy. And there's Manko. So we don't have... Oh, we have names. This is Kuro and... Oh, I can't get the tag. Cookie, did we name the second cat?
Yeah. I'm thinking of a name. I named him Kuro because you know why? But this guy, what do you want his name to be?
Ah. Well, if we have Kuro, we can have Yoru, no?
Yoru from Valorant?
You know what Yoru means in Japanese?
It means night.
Yeah.
Valorant character?
I mean, not wrong. Yeah, not wrong. But I don't have Yoru because I don't know how to
call
use
it-
his teleport.
We could call it Yoru or Tsuki.
You choose, you pick. Both are good. I'm very happy with Winchester. She's beautiful. Look at that. My god, I love the heterochromic eyes. Look at that. One yellow, one blue. She's so beautiful. Boop. Boop.
I like.
You're here for the chaos? Who the fuck isn't? I mean, I am a fucking train wreck, like, all the time. That's why you guys are here. The moment I talk, I destroy my own reputation as a genius. Winchester sounds so southern. Shut up, it's better than this. Look at that. Literally means vagina. I mean, we have a lesbian love cave over there, but like this here, why? You know, but like Winchester, that's my baby. Okay, that's my
I think
baby.
I like Yoru more. Yep, I like it more.
Hey, we're naming cats today, chat. Cat distribution distribution system at work. Yes.
We have Kuro, Yoru, Manko, and Winchester.
That's my favorite.
Yeah,
Don't judge. She's
yeah.
imported. She's imported, okay? She's imported. So we have dual nationalities here in this lesbian love cave, yeah. Germany and Singapore. Very Asian over here, and then this is Winchester. Don't judge it. Imported, yeah? Imported. We don't discriminate talent. Chad is judging. Chad is saying, Winchester sounds very southern. I don't know what it means, but shut up. Winchester is not even in America.
Are you sure? I feel like it's an American
Winchester is in
name.
England. So is Manchester, by the way, actually. I'm just saying, all the Chesters are actually England.
I hope you know, getting these cats took me like 2 hours because I had to find them and then I had to figure out how to get a lead in the desert and I had to rely on Grunkas to like fly like a god to me and give me leather.
Wow. Wait, how do you craft lead again? String and slime ball, right?
String leather.
Leather? You need leather now. Wait, what is a
Yeah.
Charles update? Charles edition? I don't have the recipe for lead. Why?
You need to go to a crafting table. Click on a crafting table.
Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, wait, it only requires string. What?
Really? I
Only
crafted
5
it with
pieces of
leather.
string. They only need... What? Hold on a second. Since when? I thought you needed slime balls. They changed it.
I don't think you need leather for a lead.
Oh my god. Name... Oh,
I
you
think
still...
Minecraft scammed you, Cookie.
Damn, they
Okay,
really
never mind
did.
then. Never mind.
Oh my god, you can craft a saddle now. What? Leather and iron ingots for a saddle crafted. What? Yo, I've never been so scammed. It doesn't feel real. It feels modded. What the fuck?
I think you can craft horse armor now as well.
Wolf armor from Armadillo Scoot. Ah, so that's what it's used for. I'm learning shit today. Wait, what is his head? Green harness? Oh, the gas thing! Oh my god. Yeah, no, but Nether is disabled. That's kind of... Let me take a look at what's good. What is this? Yo, they changed the recipes. What the heck? Wow. Okay, so...
Gee, if you want, I can show you.
Okay, lurk
I
whale.
can show you what I'm working on in the live cave.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you're working on like some big project, right?
Yeah,
Big hole.
kind of what I'm doing right now. It took a long while to dig all of this out and replace it.
Wait, is it gonna spawn creepers?
It will for now, but we're gonna avoid it.
Creepers can't blow up claims.
No, we didn't
Yeah,
really
that is
claim
fine.
this. We only claimed like the entrance area because I didn't know how big this build was gonna be, but it turned out really huge now. So
You don't have to worry.
really,
Either way, it's gonna be like the big, cool castle entrance.
Mhm,
Super
mhm.
cool castle entrance. This is supposed to be just like atmosphere. You're not supposed to go through here. And
Mm.
then you go through this super sick tunnel, and then we make like a throne room or something.
A throne room.
I mean, just the usual lesbian stuff, you know? Nothing too special.
Okay, we're gonna need a lot of gold. We can do that. We can do that. Diamonds are Gold's best friend too. So like, Grangus gave us a lot. Grangus basically dumped all the diamonds he found on me. I was like, why?
I get
Grang-
like a stack every time I like go
Wow.
mine. It's like I just have so many.
Oh, is it because you have fortune or something?
Yeah, I have Fortune 3 and then I just
Oh.
like can cave well. So it's just like I get infinite diamonds.
I see. No wonder you picked the right people to give diamonds to because girls love diamonds, and that's like our best friend, you know.
That's
Yeah,
why I'm a certified lesbian.
You said okay. You're honorary lesbian. I will accept. We should add Grungus to this cave.
Yes.
He gave us
So,
diamonds, but you're not included in the throne room, right? You can access everything else, but you're not gonna get a throne, Grungus.
Well, I'm helping make the walls. I'm getting
What?
16,000 concrete.
Oh my god,
yeah,
you.
Grangas, that's what I wanted to say. Grangas in general has been helping me a lot. We did the village together and everything. We built this whole thing together.
We're gonna
And
build.
now I mean, mostly him so far, but I'm gonna try to help now.
Mm-hmm.
Are collecting black ink, sand, and gravel, like thousands of it,
Mm-hmm.
because we need to fill 16,000 blocks.
What? Why? 16,000 blocks of what?
It's
So-
through a map.
what?
A
Yeah,
map.
it's a map.
Oh,
solid
map
color,
art
yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ah, I
we're
see.
gonna make a map look like a very solid color, just complete darkness, complete black. And then the idea is to put item frames here where we put the maps in, and it will create this super void-looking darkness.
Oh.
Depending on how big you make the room that you're gonna do, be careful because each item frame would be an entity and that could cause a lot of
Lag.
lag depending on how big your room is.
Oh. I mean,
Yeah, maybe.
alternatively, what about just concrete?
It
Concrete
should.
is
It
also
wouldn't
very
lag.
dark.
It probably.
I don't think it will lag either. This is, I mean,
It's not a
It's-
small room, but like it's not even a medium room. It's like it's an in between medium and small room.
Hmm.
and also I think that, I mean, I don't know what server you're hosting and how much you pay, but it should be able to withstand like 10 regular players on top of item frames. Like without issue.
Yeah, I don't know.
Excuse me.
Like
Bless you.
Also, but
Item
Monko
frames,
means
like,
okay.
are a lot of
Winchester
entities,
is not
yes,
Worcestershire
but-
sauce. Okay, Winchester and Worcestershire very
unknown
different.
is-
Same country
like, they're
origin,
not
not the
that
same pronunciation,
that.
guys.
I'm just saying because I remember seeing video of Hermitcraft going and making a room that's like 10 by 10 by 4, I think, something like that. And that would just lag out the client very bad. Not very bad, but it would you can see visible frame drops.
You will probably have visible frame drops a little, like if you like look at it, but like it'll be tiny amount. Like for actual impactful stuff, you need like 100 plus.
I'm just saying beware that if you put too many, it'll lag.
It'll be fine.
I don't know how much is too many, but just beware.
Yeah, how do we add Grungus to the cave? I keep on forgetting the commands.
Slash plan.
Give me a second.
Group
It was...
players. This command.
Yeah, I always forget the player thing.
Player?
The exact thing that Agnon said, and then the name.
I have homework. I can't be in the server.
So what, permission? Group?
No. Yeah, group, then players. Type it like one by one. Type it one by one. Flan, group.
Group? Players?
You have
Add co-owners. I need to find Garunkus. Ooh. Oh, they already belong to the group. Really? Garunkus has been part of this the whole time?
I mean, he slept in our bed and stuff.
Wait, no, but this one was my claim, no? Like this cave thingy. It doesn't look the in?
I don't know.
Well, it's weird.
Either way,
It's
I have
okay.
to clean the bottom part.
Which one?
By the way, you can get into the lesbian cave without perms.
I know, it's for, like, you know, trust basis, super secret. I did say it's super secret.
I'll show you what I mean.
I know, you can jump
super
over
secret
it
cave entrance.
and then get like a boat to get out or something. I saw you do that. Okay, you broke the
Yeah.
system. I'm like, it's here for like deterrence. And I put a sign, but after I put the claim, the sign didn't have words for some reason. It was supposed to caution people who have dicks that if they enter, they'll lose it. But, you know, the words disappeared after the claim, so I removed it.
You just did
Like-
it.
Like, it's lesbian for a reason, right? You're not supposed to own dicks if you're in here.
I have all of the sand. I have half of the ink sacks, a little over. I think I have like 17 stacks.
What?
And then I have like 5 stacks of gravel or something. Like I need more gravel.
Agnon, are these super ugly gold blocks forever?
They are only there if you're holding a. Oh, it just
Um,
shows you your claim region.
I'm
if
not
you let
holding
go.
anything right now. Oh, they're gone. Okay, never mind. I'm
Uh,
schizophrenic. Don't worry.
It's also with a stick for some reason.
Yeah,
for a
I've
while.
noticed. You know how I complained about that when you hold a stick, you can't trade. Apparently,
Oh, yeah,
it's
'cause
because
it's-
when you
It's because of Lightmatica. It's the stick is the tool used for Lightmatica.
Wait, I'm seeing it without a stick or a hoe.
You're hallucinating. Hallucinating? Someone is.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, gravel. How much? How much do we still need? Do you have like?
Okay, I'll
Yeah.
show you. I'll show you chairs and stuff.
I
For me, they now
don't know why.
disappeared. I don't know if they disappear for you later too. Oh yeah, let me add you.
It could be like. Oh, maybe because I'm not added.
I added you. We'll come back later. We'll see. Ow! You didn't even hit me. What? You just like 180-degree hit me. What the hell?
It might be because like. It might be because like I went into the claim and like tried to hit you or something.
Do you have Death Strider on your boots? That's why you don't wear them.
Yeah. I've done trying to
I knew it. I know it. I know it. You can't hide anything from me. I'm the speedrunner.
So it's past the villager outpost. It is quite a while away. But the reason is because we need 8x8 chunks. And the maps are a little weird. There's set positions that the map like gives you, I guess. Like they're called grid zones. And so they go off of that. And we don't really know where the grid zones are. So we can't really
You can
tell.
make a map. You can make a map and see.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
you've
yeah,
been
duh, that's
working.
wrong. So I'm gonna get all of the materials first, and then I'm gonna get a map, and then I'm gonna right click, then with the materials, we'll just go to the bottom left corner of the map, and then we'll just do that outline, and then we can fill it in. So that's all the sand we need. It's 3 and like 28 stacks. which
Yeah,
is
we
this.
got enough sand. That's enough. We don't need
This
more
is
sand
black
than that.
dye. Black dye's near.
That's a
need-
lot
them.
of black dye.
We need just as many sand as
We
we
need a
have.
few
We need
more.
just as much gravel as we have
Yeah.
sand right now.
The
So we
gravel's
we gotta fill 2 whole double chests.
We also still need what 4 more, like 3 and a bit more stacks of ink, of black dye. No, we need 14 more. Yeah.
All right. I'll repair my trident and then I will go to the gravel sea.
Can you get insects? I don't want to get insects.
I can kill a squid.
Do you
or
have
two.
aqua affinity?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Can you get insects?
Oh, there's a gravel sea kind of here too, where I am. It's not
Yeah,
far away
there's-
at all if you're in.
Yeah. It's near like the mushroom island. But yeah, we need like 14 more stacks of insects. The farm I made did work. So the guardians would kill the squids, and then the allays would pick up the ink sacs and put it in the hopper because the note block is there, and they treat a note block that's playing kind of like a player. But the problem is allays AI are just so incredibly dog shit that they sometimes just randomly wander off completely to a different dimension, and
What?
then the farm is just completely broken. So that's good.
Can you
Shout out to my
breed
allays.
squids?
No.
Or no?
Don't think so. Either way, you shouldn't breed those fuckers. They're creepy. I went to the
Yeah, so-
grocery store yesterday and I saw that they had octopus legs as like meat to buy. Something I did not expect from Germany.
squid farm using axolotls? What? Huh?
Is that even real?
I saw a Reddit post. It just says use a squid farm using axolotls.
Oh
I saw a
my.
Reddit post.
That doesn't sound right.
Something to do with squids and axolotls. I don't know. They breed and then produce black dye.
Hmm. It could be a hoax though. Like I've never heard of it. Then again, I've been out of Minecraft for a long while. I wouldn't know. Oh, the inventory is very full right now. We need to expand.
Dude, hitting squids and then they run away from you is annoying, but it's so funny because they have like speed hack.
They are so fast when that happens. I learned it. I
I
was
just
like,
use the
why?
trident. Like I offhand my trident, and then I main hand the sword with looting, and that seems to like work pretty well.
Oh, that makes sense.
Hmm.
I've been working on my like 40-minute ASMR video like all day yesterday. I don't even want to
40.
touch it right now.
40. We're
Bro, the mob cap
eating.
is like fucking 2 million. The mob cap
I mean-
is an insane amount.
I mean, the ASMR is not. The raw material is 40 minutes, and that's why it's so annoying. I'm gonna cut it down to like 20. It's just so annoying now.
30 of each mob. Hero, don't die. Do you not have torches? Light the place up. Mob proof the place. But if you're in our area and there are 30 mobs, that's our fault. Because we mob proof everywhere and then all the mobs just shimmy over to like one corner and they all spawn there. You're in a cave. Oh, well that makes sense. It must be
Whoever
a
designed
good
the
cave.
fucking LA AI
Uh-huh.
should be shot. Respectfully.
Makes sense.
That's so stupid.
Why did I come to the village again?
You needed something.
Squid.
Glass or like sand or
repair.
concrete or like gravel.
Oh yeah, we do need concrete. Chibi, you have like a concrete thing in the lesbian cave. Can you make some concrete?
What do you think we're doing, Cookie? When we
what?
need what?
I know, Grunkus, I know, but I just got reminded because Chibi does have like black ink sheeps or whatever.
But those are not concrete. Sheep is not concrete though.
Or like you have something there. You got something going on.
Can't you use black wool instead of black concrete?
Maybe.
Or are they two different
I
colors
don't know
on the
how
map?
it looks in the map.
I have like literally 30 black sheep, but we don't have that auto wool farm thing. That's the annoying part. It has to be manually farm, you know what I mean?
Enable observers, hung dude!
Even if I wanted to, it's gonna be really slow. Like all I do every day is just give sheep haircuts, you know what I mean? That's why I was asking Hero for like a block of iron, like you know, a stack of iron blocks, because we're gonna run through shears like really quickly on this.
Fuck this shit! I'm not doing this homework.
Someone rage could join us, Minecraft.
The squid farm I used needed 2 observers for like the clock, but I just used like a redstone clock, like 2 repeaters, 4 redstone, 1 torch, and you just quickly break the torch, and it worked like fine. So you could probably just get away with doing that.
For which one? The auto wool farm?
Yeah, for the sheep thing.
Really?
Like, as long as you have room and it doesn't have to be a specific, like, timing, then you can definitely get away with that.
No, like I don't understand the technology. Because
You put a repeater
observers.
forward and then a repeater backwards next to it, and then you can put them together with redstone so it makes a rectangle, and then you place a torch down and break it really quick.
Oh wait,
Or
so
put a lever.
so it just continues to try and cut hair the whole time. Is that what it does?
Yeah, so it just goes in a circle because redstone
Ah.
is slow. It's
Marcus,
not
do
like
you wanna look screen share? Let me show you the most simple redstone block in the world.
I'm looking.
Let me show you. Let me show you, boy.
Alright, let me watch it.
That's a
Let me
magma
watch it.
block.
The one
So
with the
what?
comparator?
So all you need is leather, one comparator, and redstone. So what you do is you do it like this. Boom.
You don't need
That's your.
you don't need the left side. You can do it on one. You can do one. Yeah.
Yeah. Who cares? Who cares?
Also, you don't need the light on. I don't think.
You do.
can make
you
it.
do.
You can make
Because
it.
it acts
input
like a
into block,
negative.
But
I believe.
that's actually not that good because if you put a thing right next to it, it doesn't work sometimes. It's weird because the triple comparators are like fucking stupid and broken because Minecraft sucks.
I believe you
No,
can
they
swap
they
a block
actually
in
make
front of it to a
sense.
block.
That actually makes sense. It's like a mathematical equation because they send a negative signal, and
Yeah, like that one does ticks. That one does ticks too fast, like or something. It's stupid.
Man, I'm gonna have to make even more space then, because currently I don't think that works. Yeah, I suppose it's a future project. I'm just gonna take it easy. I don't want to stress myself. This is Minecraft. I'm not writing a thesis. I'm not going for exams.
I'm so stressed. I'm so stressed.
Wh-
Ah!
Why are we stressed in Minecraft?
Gulp,
We're
gulp,
not the one going for exams. That's unknown.
I
gulp,
don't want
gulp.
exam.
You
Don't
are
mention it.
stressed. You are stressed. We are not supposed to be stressed. Why are we stressed?
You have to do parkour to enter the lesbian cave.
Oh,
God damn it.
what?
Hey, get out of the lesbian
What are you
cave.
doing
Get out of
here?
there.
Wait, I can just go from above. Not
Get out of the lesbian cave.
go over.
Admin abuse.
Bro, men
Chibi, you
keep
can do
getting
this.
into her cave. How do they do that?
Oh, I wonder. It's nothing to do with architecture, I hope.
Chibi, come here. You can do this.
I can do what? Uh-huh.
Come here. You just do that. You
Uh-huh.
just
I
make
ate
sure
all my
these aren't.
snacks, and now
You
I'm
just make sure these aren't
depressed.
too fast, and then you just push it and break it.
Fat ass.
So I have to put
All
like
my
a...
snacks.
Where do I put the
I
shearing
miss them.
dispenser
I
thing?
miss my snacks.
And then this goes to a dispenser that would be
W
like
snacks.
back here. And then
Uh-huh.
you have to need it to auto collect.
I have no more. I gotta drink water and
Mm.
shit now.
But it's just this.
Okay.
This is a clock.
Bro, you know that feeling when you drink all the energy drinks and then you
Okay.
have to go to water? Ugh.
Okay, so this is like the display farm. I'm gonna have to build the functioning farm somewhere else, unfortunately. This space is not good enough. I'm gonna hate to wrestle all of
God.
these.
I
I had
can't leave.
Zappos and
You can't.
like gummies
Incoming, you cannot leave. Now you have
and like
no dick.
chocolate.
It's one way inside of the
Like
lesbian cave.
Cheetos. It's really good.
Thank you.
I believe the auto sheep farm, it would require you to put a minecart hopper inside of a block.
Yeah, that one too. But that only works for like one sheep. So I have to build it differently. Because this right now, they are too free. They're like free roaming sheep. Look at that. Small pen, but still kind of free.
If you just put a minecart like that goes around
Collecting, like a collection
like
system.
underneath the block. It just picks up everything above it.
True, but
Can
then
it pick up more than one block above?
it could.
No, it's just if it's one block above the hopper, it can pick up stuff. Two, it can't.
It will do it like one at a time. But the problem is, I currently don't have a way to shear them because they're not in place. So I'm gonna have to redo some of it. No, do not escape. Holy shit.
Hey, Gorgus, voice crack. Gorgus, did you do the math? How much ink we need?
It's 32 stacks.
32 stacks of ink or black color?
Same thing, no?
No, because when you... Never mind, it's the same thing.
32
I
stacks
thought I
of
was
ink?
cooking for a second. I thought I had it. I figured it out.
No, I'm pretty sure there's nothing that gives double blacking,
I don't know
unfortunately.
why... Ah, man, fuck.
We
Wait,
need like 14 stacks.
does...
I'm sure the black wool would be much easier to get.
Wait, does
I
it
mean, we don't
not...
need black wool.
Charcoal? Can you
Do
not
want
make
to
black
make the
dye?
room out of
Honestly,
concrete?
I
the map?
disagree, to be honest. I think sand and gravel, despite how much we need, is easier to get than...
But
I
you can
also agree.
automate wool.
Because, I mean,
Oh, shut up on that, my God.
the fastest way would be to do the spider farm, which we did do. But I think it's still inefficient because we can mine more gravel than rely on spider RNG in a shorter amount of time. It's more work maybe than just lazily standing there, but it's faster.
And the farm would be a permanent addition. And if you would want more black blocks, you would have to do this again.
That is true.
We do have, I mean, we do have to farm. We don't,
Unmuted on
you know,
mine.
the farm already exists, Unknown.
I'm saying you could. If you want to do
Yeah.
that, do that. Send the
I
options
think we
there.
should.
We could also just dupe carpets because there's carpet dupers. Oh,
Wait, you can do carpets, so it's like what? 2 wool for 3 carpets. I feel like that is more efficient, no? Is it not?
Yeah.
Guys, the thing is, we already have all this sand. So to make concrete, we need sand, gravel, and ink. We have 80% of the ink already. We have 100% of the sand.
Only need
and
the
we just need
gravel.
gravel, which is also easy to get.
Okay.
So like we're almost done. So
Yeah, it's fine. We're just gonna set up the sheep one like for future projects, you know, so that y'all have
I want-
options.
once we have access to observers anyway, we're gonna
Redo all the
um,
farms. Cause I was waiting for the observers. That's why I didn't do like a automated wool farm. So if you guys don't need it, then I'm not gonna do it.
Can you even do an automated wool farm without an observer?
Unknown showed me it's manual, so we control the manual ticks instead of like the grass block being done. It's technically
no,
possible. It just takes up a little bit more space.
Yeah.
I must say I'm just a super big hater because observers are the best redstone item in the game. And
It is,
using something sloppy and inefficient makes me cry.
Observers really are. They really are the MVP when it comes to redstone, not gonna lie. It's real.
why am I drowning so slowly?
Aqua? Water breathing? I don't know.
Respiration, I believe.
Oh yeah,
Sure,
respiration.
Does restoration make you drown slower?
Yeah, it's the bubble thing. It gives you free extra water bubbles or something.
But like I'm out of water bubbles. I know like it goes down slower, but like I thought it didn't change like the damage ticks. Like the damage ticks are slower.
I have no idea. Out of my expertise.
I think it's respiration.
I ain't streamed for like 2 days and I forgot how to
I can
stream.
just like live underwater now.
Crazy sentence, Langdon.
Li- forgot
That's
what I'm
like
supposed to
saying,
have
that's like
open and what to
saying,
do.
I didn't go to school for 4 days because I was sick. How do you do school again, guys?
Like, forgot how to do things.
How?
Forgot what settings I'm supposed to check before I start.
Will you check your stream title? Check if your camera is on by accident? Disable? I don't know.
I have my stream deck out of the way.
Do you have a stream deck? Do you even use it?
What's a stream deck?
It's a tool. It's a physical tool that makes you assign hotkeys exclusively for streaming.
It's not for streaming. It can be connected to Discord, OBS, to Twitch chat, to your Spotify, to YouTube. Literally whatever you want it to connect to, it can. And you can set it so that buttons do things on it. It's just a set of buttons with custom commands on them. For example, play 3 minutes of Twitch ads. Or switch the scene on OBS. Or write something in Twitch chat. Or control the audio sliders. set
Please
it
give
to
me more
certain buttons.
examples. I don't have enough.
You're welcome.
Give me 5 more examples, ChatGPT.
Ow. Do you want more? I can
No.
keep going.
Stop talking. I don't want any more examples.
You seem so adamant on learning it.
No!
There's So, so much you can do.
TV, I don't know where I am. You might never see me again.
No! We have the map! Lady, we have a map! It shows you exactly where you are.
I actually have no idea where I am.
The map! The map, we have local GPS services.
And then there's also a
You
compass.
could do, Cookie, is you could go to the farm I made. It won't be automatic, but the guardians will kill the squids, and then you could just like drop down from the platform after a couple of minutes, and then just swim around and collect the ink sacs.
Sounds good.
You need to get up there
Pass-
somehow, but it's raining.
Pass me the coordinates. Right now is a good time.
It's you see there's a mushroom island, and then it's the big tower next to the mushroom island. I don't know the coordinates.
Hold on,
if
I'll
you-
drop off like a couple of stacks of gravel and then I'll go.
If you see the mushroom island, you'll see a giant tower. Just be
Oh, GG, I'm dead.
just be wary of the guardians. Since you're up there, you're forcing guardian and squid spawns. So when you drop down to collect this ink sacs, there's gonna be like 20,000 billion guardians. So
They don't call me a Minecraft PvP god for nothing.
you're not gonna kill them. They don't do too much damage, but if like 7 of them shoot you like 10 times, it does kind of a lot of damage.
Nah, I'll just soup PvP with my totems.
True.
Yeah, we have a ton of totems.
That would be kind of cool.
I'll
would be really
trap
cool.
the guardian. Okay, I got a little bit of gravel.
There's
We almost have our
another
first
Aquapolis
chest.
right here.
Okay,
I
let's
got a
check out this
bunch, I
mushroom
got-
island.
I got like a full normal chest of gravel.
Angon, why do you always hate on our lesbian cave? It's literally, it looks like a mine shaft. It's so hidden and secret.
It's in the middle of.
But you
That
don't even know
area.
what it is. You wouldn't, if you see that, you don't think lesbian cave. You think like mine shaft. You think like, you know?
I think
Normal
handmade cave.
Yeah,
They're
you think
clearly
handmade cave.
naturally
You
generated
don't
cave.
think lesbian cave. That's a different
Sure.
thing.
Okay.
I do not see them. Oh, never mind. There's a mushroom thing. Big tower, found it.
It's literally where I am right now.
I'm following your mark, Grungus.
So like since it's raining, you can like fly up there. But yeah,
Oh my god, I'm dead again. No, I'm not.
maybe like you could put some water down once you're up there, so you can just swim back up, maybe or something like that. You know what I mean?
So you know what I mean.
I think it should work still, kind of, maybe. Hopefully.
Man, I hate that it doesn't rain in sand biomes, man.
So,
So annoying. Such a diva. I
did you
swear
see
to
me?
God.
Did you see me? We
Wait, I
passed
didn't
each
see you.
other.
You just passed me, what?
We passed each other like mid-air.
Oh my god, I wasn't paying attention. I'm trying to... Mushroom Island, there it is. How far in the sky is it?
You just there's a box. There's like a wooden box. You just go inside of that, and then you stand on like the sand block. One full double chest. W.
How I wish I could trident with zero ping. How I wish.
Chibi, if you want to, I don't mind making a sheep farm right now.
The automated
Sounds like a
one?
fun activity.
Really? The automated one?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I found it! What the fuck is this? It looks so much smaller than I thought.
No, literally, like it produced all of the insects I have now. Because it's literally just you need 2 LAs, and then that's like kind of it.
Oh my god, they're killing me.
Yeah,
Where do I stand? Do I stand up?
you stand inside the wooden box.
Oh, so I'm not supposed to hug them on the bottom.
No.
Chibi, do
Okay.
you want
Have you,
to?
have you ever done
I mean, I don't
mob
know
spawning
where
stuff? Like,
where to place them right now. That's the problem.
Yeah,
You go-
I've done it
you go
with creeper
bio.
farms.
Like we got space, but putting it up here will kind of be a little bit ugly unless you have space there somewhere.
I mean, my idea was to put it underneath your sheep farm.
it works
Oh, we're
pretty
gonna
well.
hollow the
like,
whole thing.
Like it did
Alright,
work pretty
we're gonna
well.
have to
So,
like
It's
oh.
just LA AI is just so bricked.
we have to count spaces because
What I'm thinking is in here you can have like just a ladder going down into a bunch of chests. You don't even have to see the sheep or the thing, and it'll just work generating the thing.
we're gonna
where
bring
did the squids
one sheep
die?
down, right? We're gonna bring at least one.
Just like in the ocean.
We can
They
just take them from
they
here
die
and take
like
them
wherever.
down.
They spawn.
It's
Oh,
hard.
my job is to pick
I
them
think
up
it's
like
hard.
a slave.
Yeah.
Can build like here, but like
Or you
down.
could
It's
manually
gonna be
kill
hard.
squids if you want.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. There's like 700 guardians down there. Oh my god, you can look at them laser people like Zarya from Overwatch.
Because
Oh my
we already
god!
have the CPU.
That's brutal! Oh my
Like,
god!
I'm making it like under
Because
here.
the LAs, if you give them an ink sac, they'll seek out ink sacs
We
and
could,
then
we
pick
could.
them up and then
Mm.
drop them near a player or a
How
note block
tall
that's,
does it
like,
have to
playing
be? I
music.
have to bring the grass down as well.
So they kind of like auto pick around.
I can bring the grass, but we just need.
Wait,
Is
that's so funny
nine-
looking at them
9
laser
down.
everyone to death. Do you want me to stand in the middle or does it not matter?
It kind of doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all, actually.
You know what? I'll make it fun for me. I have some glass with me. Let me. Oh my god! I got mining fatigue so hard I can't destroy wood with efficiency 5. Oh, it's like obsidian. Oh my god!
No, the Guardian gives you like mining fatigue 30 or something. It's so stupid.
What did I do? I can't destroy wood.
You got bombed. The Elder Guardian bombed you.
Like
Got
each sheep,
bombed.
it would only be one sheep in the thing, and it would
You need
just
milk.
need
Yeah, so like 16.
like a 3x3x3 volume for each sheep.
Alright, I'm just gonna hollow out the entire area that is below, like exactly what this is right here, up to this point. If that makes it easier.
Okay, I'll bring some redstone stuff. Only thing I'm missing is dispensers.
The problem is that insects do despawn if they're rendered for 5 minutes. Are they rendered up here?
Yeah.
How many sheep do you have? How many different colored sheep are there?
16.
That's a lot.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Alright, let's build one and figure out the rest. That's the simplest way to do things. I didn't bring the dirt. Grass.
I don't have silk touch.
Do you have any glass? Like extra?
Panes or like blocks? Glass panes or glass blocks? Oh, I have to go and find. I think Cookie was cooking up sand. Pretty sure those were for the project. I might have. Let me go check. It's everywhere.
You can trade with the villager, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, I was making the villager thing. I don't have it yet. Like, that's.
I remember seeing Cookie trade with the glass villager. I don't know if she threw away the Cookie. Did you throw away the glass?
It's too far to carry back. It's okay. There is some. We can make some. It's okay. Can always make some. It's like
Let me see the librarian over here if she has.
Do you ever
the trick.
feel like a plastic bag
no.
drifting through the wind, wanting to start again?
Cookie
Cookie,
water.
do you have any glass?
Yeah, she has some in the furnace. We got
Hey,
some.
why are you seeing my glass? I need that glass.
It's okay. We'll get our own.
What do you mean we got our? That is my own. I farmed that.
Yeah, no, we'll get our own. There's like a river here with sand. We're gonna go get that. There's like a whole ass desert over there. We can definitely get our own. It's a whole ass desert.
Maybe
So Chibi, let me get this straight. You're giving away the thing I farmed because of the reasoning we'll get more.
Chibi, can you add me to the clan?
No, I am
It's
actually
okay.
going to get more now. I'm not touching the one in the furnace. It's still there.
It's okay, Jimmy. You can give away my whole inheritance. I don't want it anyway.
No,
Give it
no.
all away. Give it to him. Give it to him.
Yeah, no,
Only.
how much glass are we talking about? One stack?
It's like one stack. More
One
than
stack.
enough.
Alright, that would be really fast. Like the
Grungs, I
desert.
have some really bad news.
Like a bad nerve.
There's literally 40 guardians, literally like 40 of them, and I can't pick up
bro.
stuff.
Oh my god.
Nick has
You
bunnies.
can, but
Nick-
I
Nick
kind
has
of told you like there's gonna be a lot
Shit.
because you're force spawning the guardians and the squids. I
There's
used
so many.
what I did is I just used my trident to like fly around the ink sacs and then just like run away at the same time.
My ping is too bad, Grungus. It doesn't pick it up because I skip over it.
It sometimes does. It sometimes does.
But my ping is, I think, arguably worse than yours because you live closer.
Oh, well, I'm Australian, so
Yeah, and the server's in Singapore.
Yeah, it's gonna be
yeah,
slightly
but
better.
I'm Australian.
But
That's
his
very close to you.
no, his internet is probably infinitely worse than yours. He lives in the bush.
Because I'm Australian.
It took him so long for DVD download. Remember that one? It was crazy.
You know, Australia invented like the internet.
What?
Wi-Fi and
That
stuff.
can't be. That can't be.
They
That's
invented-
Nah,
Can you
you're
add me to me-
They like
can you-
they invented Wi-Fi
add me to the
or
clan?
something like that.
That is like a story they tell
Which
the
one?
kids to make
That-
up
this
for the
one.
shitty
Yeah,
Yeah,
internet.
like we have
and,
we have
like,
the
an-
yeah, no, we
yeah.
have the worst
Oh my god, what is the
internet
command
speed
again?
ever.
Okay, after almost being completely murked by the Guardians, I got a stack and a half.
That's pretty good.
But now it's not raining anymore. I gotta get all the way up again.
Well, that's why I suggested water at the top.
Oh man! But there's a note block here. I'm getting killed!
You just you can
Placing
remove the
glass on
block.
a redstone so it won't be destroyed.
You can destroy it. It's. I'm not getting another.
Maybe I
LA,
can't
anytime
mine.
soon.
Why? Why not? I already added.
Don't know. I can't mine in here.
Eh. Wait. Let me try. Again. Clan group. Players. Add.
Oh my god, I almost destroyed
That worked.
everything.
Okay, does it work now?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Awesome.
Cool. Cold useful. I'm
You
picking this
can
up.
destroy
Yep.
the redstone and stuff. It's
I'm
not-
cooking up glass upstairs for
not
now.
bad.
I'm cooking
have- I
right
have-
now.
I got some.
Oh
got
wait,
some.
you have actual grass blocks. Oh my god.
Yes. Yes.
I got glass blocks.
Grass. The glass is okay, the grass.
Yeah, there's a lot of guardians.
So we don't have grass underground, that's why.
Dude, I'm just looking at the hit boxes and there's so much.
My inventory is full of garbage.
Oh, your pickaxe is silk touch. 나루호도.
Yes.
Okay.
Angnon, how's
Like
the
that
Japanese
far,
lessons?
Been a little busy.
A little? A couple of months?
I've been a little busy. Yeah.
I'm assuming you also stopped learning.
Yep.
I gotta start again for Zeno. Zeno has been like... Zeno keeps telling me how I'm his like proudest student and like the best Japanese speaker he knows in such a short time. And I'm like, yeah... yeah.
Yeah,
Hello and
konnichiwa.
konnichiwa. Man, I haven't spoken Japanese in so long. I swear, if I do my lessons again, I'm gonna understand zero because I'm so lost.
Arigato.
Oh god.
Arigato. You didn't just say that, bro.
As an honorary lesbian, why would you?
What do you mean honorary lesbian? Are you like the queen of lesbians?
No, that's Grungus.
Oh, I'm stuck.
Grungus is
Marcus, you're the queen of lesbians.
he's honorary cookie.
Honorary doesn't. It means like
これは山口さんの帽子です。
Oh my
Yamada-san
god.
Woshi desu.
You're
Wait,
seeing as
what?
Oh my god. すみません。これは山口さんの帽子です。But it's been so long. It's been so long.
Did you just say something kurva?
But what?
これ。
Yeah.
これ。
Konnichiwa to YouTube.
Konnichiwa.
Honorary means like bestowed upon, I guess.
Yeah, it means that you don't really have it, but we give it to you because we like you that
Yeah.
much.
It's like someone who
Like
has it.
a PhD, right? You gotta study
It's
for
like a
that shit.
pass.
Yeah, but then if
Like
you
a
do
lesbian pass.
really good things and they think you're really smart, then you don't have to pay money to be certified. They give it to you.
Yeah.
Unknown, is this like a space that's good enough? This is like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 5 by 5 by 4.
That is
Like,
way
you
too
look what I'm
lame.
For like one sheep.
席はここじゃないです。
Yeah,
Like
so like
each one of
Sorry,
these is like one spot.
What do you say, Grungus?
I was thinking
Look
like
what I'm
this
doing.
one is one like
Fucking
right in the center
destroy the
here.
entire ocean.
So the sheep stands here,
Polluting
the thing goes
ocean
around
and
it.
putting
Does it make sense?
McDonald's particles. Oh my god, the
Yeah,
world
make
is
it, like,
ending.
look good.
It's over.
Sheep
'Cause-
here, sheep here.
Oh really?
And then
It's like that one episode.
Wait, no, but where the
in-
redstone go?
I forgot the show where they fly up in balloons. Rick and Morty.
Like if
Rick
sheep
and Morty where
here,
they're all flying
if sheep
balloons to the
here,
gods.
redstone behind, right? 1, 2, and then like this side.
駅はここじゃないです。
I'm trying to think about how it would be made. You need one more behind, and then one more for redstone.
So 2 behind. So
That's-
so sheep here.
So, 1, 2. Yep, sheep there, and then 2 behind.
Okay, I'm gonna give a space of 2 because at the sides you're still gonna need to trap it in, and then I don't want anything. Yeah, I think the
And
space
you
is
can
good.
you can leave a space here in front as well for design if you
Yeah,
want to.
so like 1, 2, 5 by 5 by 4. Yeah, everyone is 5 by 5 by 4. Wow, that's
So
a lot.
I think like 4 blocks of space before the sheep start would be a good thing.
Oh, 4 before?
Like the sheep would. I think it would be good because it gives you some space to work with if anything, if you need to add anything.
1, 2, 3, 4. 4.
No. I mean like from the ladder, like you have 1, 2, 3, 4 before the sheep, so you have some room instead of you walk and the sheep's right.
Ah, okay, so like that. So sheep here.
And then here.
Confusion max. I'm Asian, but I don't math well. What the fuck? You are the one who is a STEM student, man. There's a reason why I'm in accounts and I don't really do my job well. It pays though, it pays though. I'm not the main accountant.
I gotta be honest, I forgot everything in Japanese. I forgot everything.
No, you didn't. You know what euro meant.
But I didn't. What
And
does-
you
what does
remember what
it-
manko is.
What does? Well, I love mango. That's why. Daisuke da yo. But hello, I'm Deku. Hi, Kachan. Chibi, what does iki mean?
Iki,
I forgot.
the will to live. Or eki.
Yeah.
Ikiteru means to live. Be
Like-
alive. To alive. Be alive.
Iki wa kokko desu.
Eki. Train station.
Yeah.
今日本語勉強? Are we doing Japanese now? What? You're doing Minecraft.
I'm just asking because I have to sit here on the farm anyway and wait for all the ink sacs. I'm like doing the lessons. I
Ah,
forgot everything.
I see. Wow, that's okay.
Oh,
Okay.
it was train station, man. How did I forget that?
Eki, yes.
You said will to live. You did not yes me here. You did not say train station.
Wait, what did he say?
You said Eki means will to live. You did
I
not
heard-
get to yes me here.
I didn't Iki. I was like ikiteru, ikimasu. I was asking
No, I
you
said
which one.
Iki.
Eh. You say I. I was like, what is that?
Maybe I'm the real Japanese speaker after all.
Okay, you can tell yourself that.
I'm sorry. I love you.
Where is the will to live?
Iki doko? So where is the will to live? It was in 2025, sir.
それは切符ですか？
Oh, there's a lot of gravel falling. Okay. Whee!
Bro, it's been so long.
それは山口さ
Who
ん
knew
の
there was a lot of garbage around?
Passport.
I don't really have a dump chest right now.
Are you listening? All you heard was passport.
I recognize that word.
Are we
Wait, let me
marking
turn up the music
yes,
for
we
you.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
the
marking.
torches are where each cheek will
Passport.
be.
山口さんのパスポートですか？
So,
Gucci passport.
Oh, this side as well. Okay, okay.
Is that Yamaguchi's?
this is 6
passport.
long. We need to
Passport.
go more
それ
because this won't have every color of.
は山口さんのパスポート
I think that's what you said,
こ
right?
れは山口さんのパスポートで
Why'd she just say my mom's
Oh, this
Gucci?
guy.
すみませんそれは私です
Because Yamaguchi,
true.
I don't know how to explain it.
Why you calling my mom Gucci?
I forgot what Gucci means, but Yama means mountain.
Gucci is
Oh, she's
mouth.
expensive.
Mouth. Yamaguchi mouth. Mountain entrance.
My mom isn't Gucci.
Yeah.
That's not Gucci. You might as well call it Prada. What the fuck?
And there's also the kanji for inside. I forgot what that was called.
Hi, Naka. Which one?
Yeah, Naka. Because of the name Nakayama, I've heard it a lot.
From Borderlands.
Boy, Nakayama, boy.
I know that guy.
Homashida. That's Japanese.
私の
Oh. Chizu. That one means map. I remember. I
Yay!
think. Or it means cheese.
Cheese.
I am a cheese. Oh. Grungus when he doesn't get his cheese. Arr.
Grungus is lactose intolerant, no?
No,
No?
you're not lactose intolerant, Grungus, are you? I don't think so.
Maybe.
It's normal that I always vomit when I eat milk.
Well, sometimes I get like
You get like stomach cramps or bloatedness when you eat like
I
dairy.
shit sometimes.
Yep, that's
But
a
it's like-
sign.
It's
I
really
would think
smelly.
you do as a human.
That is
And
a
it's like
sign.
liquid and it hurts a little.
That is a sign, brother. You are lactose intolerant.
But it's only when I eat like specific dairy. Like I could eat I ate a whole pizza and some chocolate today. I'm
Uh-huh.
fine. I'm chilling.
Guys, I don't want to be
alright.
that person, but that is what cheese does to you. It clogs up your.
No, it's not even
Your
cheese.
bowels are
it's,
gonna.
It's like it has to be like white chocolate or like some really specific dairy product. Because I can eat like a full bowl of yogurt, full bowl of ice cream, like a whole pizza that's like full of cheese, and I'm like fine. But then sometimes it's just like kind of random. It's like RNG. Like sometimes I roll in nat one and dairy. And
Nat
I just
one.
shit my pants. Like
Bro's
I don't know.
And
coping.
one in there.
I don't know why.
He rolls a -2 in like bowel strength, and then he just like starts shitting.
それは山口さんの希
But like I really don't know. Like I don't know why.
That's called lactose intolerant.
それは山
No, but like it's like I've only had it 3 times in my life, and it's like
Yeah,
really
no.
specific.
Yeah. Like, okay, I'm gonna say Parmesan cheese is like the one cheese lactose intolerant people absorb the best,
No,
right? We don't get that problem. But mozzarella is gonna be like one of the worst offenders. Examples, right?
I've eaten a shit ton of mozzarella, and I've been fine.
Oh.
I've put bocconcini and mozzarella on my pizzas for like a shit ton, like a long time, and I've been fine every single time.
Oh,
You need to
then.
get shit out of your vocabulary.
I think it is like a really specific dairy product. Like I don't know what it is, but it has to be something like
Yeah, yeah.
white
Like-
chocolate, but only on like a Saturday or some shit.
On a Saturday? What? Alright.
It has to be something like that.
Bro! Bro's poop is a scripted event.
It's so random.
Lactose intolerance depends on the day.
It's
I
like
know,
a
right?
5-star pull every time he shits.
So
Oh, where am I?
花さんのスマホはどこですか
Where is Yamada-san's phone?
Hana-san.
Hana, I heard Yamada.
But I do remember Doku. Doku does mean where, yeah?
Uh-oh, I think it crashed. I crashed.
Oh, did
Wait,
the server crash?
is it my internet? Hold on.
Gee,
no,
what did
I
you
can't
do to the
connect either.
server?
I also disconnect.
You also did? Oh well, it's the unknown. Admin is right here. He will fix this. Don't worry, chat. Hold on. Oh,
Is it bad that the only Japanese I know is from Persona 5?
actually no. That's one of the best ways to learn, I guess.
Like I only know the names because I play in English.
It disconnected everyone. And
I'm
only
back.
now updating.
I'm
it's
back.
I didn't touch things.
Is
I didn't touch
Yaldabaoth
anything, it's back.
Japanese? That doesn't
What
sound
is Jap-
very Japanese.
What is Japanese?
Masayoshi?
It's
Well,
a
Yoshi is
name.
very Japanese.
It's a name.
Wait, Masayoshi is a streamer.
It's a name, and it's very archaic. It's like a samurai time kind of name.
There's a YouTuber and like streamer I watch sometimes, and his name is Master Yoshi. But there's also Master Yoshi Shido, which is a boss.
They're very different
Such a
genres.
movie. But Yaldabaoth is the normal game final boss. But that doesn't sound very Japanese. Like Yaldabaoth? That sounds like Latin or something.
それか
No. There's no what? Is there not supposed to be a wah here?
What?
Okay.
Wow,
Is
Buffett! Where are we?
What is
please?
the what?
I mean, I guess I don't need so. Oh no, that would be is that so it is.
Wait, we're gonna need
What?
a little bit more than 16 because in case they eat the front grass, we need a backup grass, yes?
Yep.
Okay, got it. We have dirt. We just
Um,
mined a couple.
I'm actually
I also got
confused.
some extra with
I'm puzzled.
Is this-
preferably not the block behind,
Oh really?
because this one's gonna have a dispenser on it. Yeah, the block like right
Uh,
behind has.
Okay, we
Does
do
it
it
make sense?
beside. Does it make sense?
I'm lagging.
Like a whole line across like this, like that.
I'm lagging. Anyone else?
Ah!
What?
Is the
Disconnect.
server dead again?
I got disconnected again. Yes. Is it my internet? Nande.
What?
Disconnected.
Server. Let's see. Is the website just like shitting itself? Tark,
Maybe
did you do
deep
something?
Voices.
No, it's back. No. Okay, I have the website open on my other monitor now. If something happens, I'll catch it.
Okay.
地下鉄あそこ
お
じゃないです
Does that even make sense? Yes. Man, Duolingo is so loud. It's always jump scaring me. Um,
いいえ これは
I got mending for 1 emerald now.
One emerald.
That is extreme overkill. My
oh,
God. I believe glass does not remove
Grass blocks, maybe.
yeah.
I don't think so.
コートじゃないです。
It
そ
should
れは
be.
山口さんのパスポートですか？
Yeah, no.
それ
Minecraft has
は
to play with like a
山口さん
encyclopedia, Wikipedia thing.
それは山口さんのパスポートですか？の
Can you
Thank you for the stretch
You're
redeem.
in the ground.
I-
um
それは山口
Okay,
さん
what
の
do we
パ
need?
スポートですか？それは山口さんのパスポートですか？
18 dispensers.
18 dispenser. Okay.
Yeah.
What does a dispenser? Oh, we need bowls, right? Damn, I don't have that much string. I don't got that much string. I think there's like a missing one here. Hold on.
Good thing this is the sheep area already, because this is gonna be extra noisy.
It is. That's why I was wondering how you were gonna build it because it's kinda crazy.
私の
Up there. We're gonna have to drop sheep down, so there's that.
じゃない
Alright, we need dispensers, 16 of them, yeah? We go and try and get them.
fuck you, Duolingo bird.
What? Don't say that. He's gonna come and get you now.
I'm gonna come and get him first and
Oh,
fucking put him in my cage and then I'm gonna feed him to Manko.
Oh yeah, Manko would love birds. No, I don't have enough string.
Oh my god, the phantoms, you little bitch! Fuck you! Fuck you!
One more person sleep, please.
I'm allergic to sleeping.
Okay, it's day now. The night bird should be
さんは
gone.
ブラジル人
where am I? Oh, this is a different server.
Different.
Logged into Hypixel, what the fuck?
Sorry, I got scared.
Ah, dude.
I logged into noob server and I was underground and I got really scared.
I have a mason and a elytra? What the hell?
Chibi, can you also get one piston?
How do I
and
make
one rail?
piston? Rail? Okay, I know how to make rail. Hold on. I don't have enough string for the dispensers. What do I do?
It's fine. It's fine for now.
Piston. Let me just check. Piston. Piston.
I want you to know I'm coming up with the design as we go along. I don't have a pre-built design.
It's okay. I don't know what I'm doing either. I have no clue.
Yeah.
Who's the need
Go cut-
glass?
No, I have gloves.
Okay, I have
fine.
one piston. We need rails, right?
One rail and
Like
one
what
just
kind? Regular, detector, powered?
Regular.
Regular. Oh
regular.
god, how do I?
And 6 iron, 1 stick.
Oh.
Bro, katakana makes no sense.
カナダは
Oh,
大きいです
we have 16 though. What the heck? Okay, never mind.
カナダ
I can bring 11 string.
Okay, I have 8 bows.
I have a full chest of mending now. That is stupid amounts of overkill.
Mending is good. I keep on breaking diamond tools. I have a lot of
カナ
diamonds
ダは
though.
大きいです
Why is it broken? Why is it broken? No.
いいえカ
How
ナ
do
ダ
I
は大
make
きい
the
です
dispenser
Yeah.
again? Dispenser.
カナダは
How do I craft
で
this?
す
Okay, redstone,
ブラジルですか？
cobblestone. One thing. Oh,
Dude,
it's lagging. It's lagging. We're gonna crash. Oops.
just doesn't say anything on
で
this.
すか？
Says it's online.
Oh, we're
And the
struggling.
server restart.
We have to.
か
イギリスです
Yesterday at
I'm logging onto
midnight,
Fortune server.
イギリス
I'm
Oh,
manually
No one's
restarting
on.
it. I'm restarting the
I'm logging
server.
into noob
Okay.
server now.
Um,
There's 2 people on the 3.
ooh, it's kind of rough. Today is kind of
Wow.
rough. Server's having a rough day too.
I'm not sure why.
Bro,
Just-
why does Ikiri mean British?
Igiris.
It's I don't get it. Couldn't they have made the katakana closer to like English?
Okay, look at what I have on this server. Do we still have the elytra chest? Oh, GG, we don't.
Or why is Brazil instead
Oh,
of
okay.
Baza like why the oh my
Wait,
God, I have a
peep the
brain
drip.
lag.
Peep the drip.
What?
Sheesh, peep the drip. Sheesh.
What? Oh, that makes sense.
大きいですか？イギリスは大きいですか？イギリスは大きい。イギリスは大きいですか？か。
Okay, server's up.
Nice. I just ran ads because I was like, you know what? It's gonna take a while. Watch ads, chat.
Go to chat server.
Make your money, Chibi.
I
Let's
don't
go.
earn from Twitch. Okay, I keep on telling them, do not subscribe. People don't listen. Why?
Because they hate you. They force their hatred with money.
I say you like YouTube is more main than Twitch. But then I barely stream on YouTube now, so
God, I hate people who give me money. I totally hate if people make me a millionaire. For anyone out there who hates me and wants me to die, please don't make me a millionaire. God, please. I would hate that. Fuck.
Can you also bring a crafting table downstairs?
no need to bring. I can just make it there.
Okay.
Stupid fucking squid farm. Fucking have to stand over all day, get mining fatigue, get a bunch of squids. Oh. I have so many sacks.
This is a bunny.
Same.
Lady.
No, you don't have many. How many do you
I need to
have?
get checked out.
Yeah, you're crazy. Bro.
Didn't I just say meow?
You can stack dispensers. What the fuck?
No.
Yes.
I just figured it out. Okay, well,
He's learning cat language on Duolingo.
He did not say meow. He didn't even
Meow.
say anything.
who said meow? Who meowed?
Bro.
My
Wait,
Duolingo
that was a
apparently.
stream. No, that was someone else.
Also, my child's lost rabbit. Where is it? Oh god, I lost it again. I saw it. Oh my god. Why are you here? Get down. No. 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 Go out. Out. That direction is there.
イギリス人です日本は小さい
Yes,
ですか
bunny. Out. Straight out. There we go. There we go. Actually, the gate doesn't matter. Bunnies can jump through it. Yes, there you go. Yona's house is that side. Or not. Enjoy Grungus's house.
ブラジルは小さいですか
Okay, I'm gonna need like more string. Where do I find more string?
I got 11 string with me.
小さい
We need like 8 times 3. We need 24 string in total for like a dispenser, so all of it.
本
I only have 8! I'm gonna have to find string. What do I find?
It's fine. It's fine. We
I might
can
have
get
to
it done and then
be-
put the
there's a
dispensers
spider
later.
spawner.
Spider spawner.
Wait, all of my Bobby chunks are gone. All of my preloaded chunks are gone.
What?
GG.
Oh, the server crashed because. Oh, okay.
I still have mine. L Gronkos. L
GG,
Gronkos.
all of mine are gone. And the render distance is like 3. GG, bro.
Oh, too late. The rabbit. I
you get
freed the rabbit now.
小
Bro, nah, like, okay, GG.
ナオミさんは
What?
ブラジル人ですか
And it's slightly messed up
It's
how
okay.
much space is needed.
How much more do we need?
It's all too late to change that. So a little fix would be to just use barrels.
イギリスです。
Oh, you mean for the collection?
Yes.
Yeah, it's fine. Barrels are fine. But we need like don't we need the what is that minecart hopper thing?
Yep.
We do, right? God, okay. Let me bring more iron.
Swim away and not help, you little bitch.
I'm getting gravel.
We
Look at you
really
down
need
there.
the iron
You
farm.
little bitch.
I don't know
Where
how
are
to
you?
do
I
it.
can't see you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look up iron farm tutorials like tomorrow or something. I have the villagers there. I don't
I
remember.
don't have-
Do you-
4 villagers on beds with 2 blocks above them, then you get a zombie on a leash that's dangling and getting hanged in like the middle. I think it works.
You can also
something
use a
like
boat.
that.
You do not have to hang the zombie.
Wait, we
Yeah,
don't
but
have.
hanging them
I
is fun.
We don't
I
have.
have the iron. I just can't craft it. I need a crafting table.
Oh
How I-
yeah, crafting table. My bad.
I've made like villager farms like a million times, so I can do it.
Yeah,
Iron
but I
iron
love
farm.
hanging the zombie.
You have to hang a what?
Psychopath, actual psychopath.
I have name tags if you need them.
I can
as
tell you
well.
play Persona now. I can tell.
I have 4 name tags. We can give him a name, then hang him.
Crafting table. There we
Your
go.
name tags are probably all named after like famous murderers.
Yeah,
Jason?
like SpongeBob.
Bro, that guy is. You can't do that. That guy is too rough, man. What if he sees that? Gulp.
Okay, I think the first one is. Yes.
I'm on mining fatigue.
Why do you need a mine?
Mom, you can't do this shit no more.
How many stacks do you have?
I have. I can't do math right now. 5.5.
We need like 9 more.
I'm stopping for now. I'm stopping. I can't do it anymore. I quit. I quit. You hear me? You hear me? I quit.
That's okay.
This what a nonchalant chef. What the fuck? It's okay. It's okay.
I get it.
You see you later. Been there. I wish I could quit.
Chibi, we need 18 barrels.
Okay. Can do barrels.
Are you letting a man tell you what to do? Attack him right now!
The man is fixing the sheep farm though. 16.
I mean, what is there to fix?
barrels. So it's automated, and then I can just look at the pretty thing upstairs and let the sheep do whatever it does downstairs. You know? Does it make sense?
I
This is
guess.
very.
I guess we're just gonna have a permanent
inhumane
redstone
with the
clock,
sheep.
which will go dong 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 in our face.
No, the redstone clocks are like the noise dispensers make is so annoying.
Oh, you didn't tell me that before you fixed it, but okay. I guess.
No, they're so annoying.
I
like-
guess.
I made a gold
gonna-
farm with an auto sorter that auto sorts the gold swords and stuff, like non-stackable items, and then dispenses them into a fire. And the noise actually is just so annoying. I had to turn like my blocks and my mob sound off.
Oh.
Yeah,
Like,
you're gonna have a lot of fun, Chibi. It's gonna be very enjoyable.
Like yeah, it's the most like it's like water torture.
Ah, it's okay. I have it turned down. It should be fine. How
It's
are
in
you
my head
okay?
from so many farms. It's in my head. I can feel it at night.
Oh, I'm collecting gravel.
I should play Osu again. Osu was so fun. I actually really enjoyed Osu because it was like relaxing with music while getting that ADHD urge off.
16 barrels coming up.
W-Osu! W-Osu! Click the circles.
Or isn't also the one that you have to play it with like a digital pen?
Most people do, but you're
Not
not
have
forced to.
I'm a circle.
I The problem about Osus is that you have to download all the maps manually, and there's no real map packs online, so you're forced to download 400 maps individually, or you're forced to play the default shitty fucking music that no one likes.
Go.
And every time I uninstall Osu, I hate myself over and over because I get rid of all my packs.
Unknown.
I'm
Can I
marking
just?
the finished ones with torches.
Okay.
This is a very tedious process.
Can I just ask Unknown, like, how many entities are too many for the server? Because I have a lot of sheep here.
I have just
You're not
about as
gonna
many
reach the
cows, and
limit.
it's not too bad.
You're not gonna reach the limit, Chibi.
I mean,
Really?
you saw me go here. That was like fine-ish, kind of. Not really, but
The fact that Unknown can be rendered on the map with his weight already, like,
sure.
wow, it can render a lot. W roast, W insult.
He's not
That was a
responding.
good one.
He's not responding. He's busy.
Do you like my roast, Unknown? W
Oh my god, I
roast.
don't know where I'm going because my fucking Bobby reset. GG. I have no idea where I am.
The map, people. The map.
I don't like the map.
Don't like the map.
Da Vinci?
I don't like the map. I gotta look at it in another like tab. I don't like the map. Am I smart here? Hey, am I in the right place? Where am I?
Bro, I don't know, you tell me, man.
Both of you lost together.
Bro, where's my Bobby reset?
Look at the
No.
XP bar, see where you, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. Fuck, I don't know.
I gotta reset all of these charms. This is the mushroom island?
Oh, Cookie, he's home. Is that Cookie? I saw someone. You're home.
Surprise!
Yay. This is like the villager trading hall
Where
area,
am I?
but like, it's not done. It's far from done.
I help.
Unknown is like downstairs working
I
on
can't
the
even see your
sheep.
fucking thing on the compass because it's like 90% of the time it's broken.
Yay!
Yippee!
Yay!
Yippee!
We're gonna be run away train. But yes.
We have a golden skeleton in the base.
We do?
Okay. Yeah. Five Nights at Freddy's skeleton.
Man.
Now you can stay there, he's chill.
It's behind glass. Can't touch me.
Did you put the ink sacs in the chest, Kiki?
Did you guys
I'll
get...
go there in a second to do just that, actually.
Y'all got all your stuff now?
No.
I can already start building the thing.
Maybe.
Or maybe I
Yeah,
do
but
my
not-
ASMR. What do I do?
I think we have, we might be a little short on the... Fuck. We need like 4 more
Chibi,
stacks
can you
of
help me with
gravel.
something?
Can you get 4 more
Ye-
stacks
what
of
do you
gravel?
need?
And
do.
can you extend, not extend, but can you mine out some of the space?
Hold
And how many
on.
insects did you get? 6 stacks?
Oh,
or
wow.
something?
Like just this area, just
I have
push this
5 and a
back.
half.
All
Okay.
Leave
ba-
the dirt, or just
basically
extend this
all
back.
all of these, right?
We need like
Go.
8 more stacks. So I'll do that.
Oh my god.
There is a specific way you need to build it. You need to open the map, and then you need to go to the bottom left corner of the map, and then also like try and move to the right more, and then open the map, then go to the bottom left of the map, then start building.
Oh my god, this is not gonna be annoying at all, by the way. Yeah, I'll do that. I can already hear the sound. Dot, 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 dot. Dip, 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 dip.
Dude.
This meant
Wait, are
to be
those
like,
are those the LAs? No, they're bats. GG. I got baited by bats.
Batman.
I'm out of hoppers.
You're out of cobble?
Hoppers.
A hop. I was like, cobble, what? Hoppers. So we're gonna need iron. How much iron we need? Can I not drop some here? Oh wait, we got some here. We can cook some.
This is
I'm
very.
so sexy, man. It's hard being so sexy. Fuck.
What?
You know what I mean?
I'm
It's
lost.
just difficult being so beautiful like me.
Also,
Like,
Chelsea, I don't think it's your cows.
I can't even step out of my door without people.
It's fine.
being
I don't
like,
think
oh
it's
my
your
God,
house."
That's the model again. So it's Joe.
Yay!
Need 2 more barrels
Okay.
and quite a lot of chests and hoppers.
Define how many those would be, because it will take time.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times 30 hoppers.
30 hoppers. Oh my god, that's like what? 30 times 5.
150 iron.
Oh god. Hero. The iron farm is very needed. 30 hoppers. Do I have 30 hoppers worth? Oh wait, that needs a lot of wood too. Oh.
Five stacks of gravel. I got it.
Sycamore boy, sycamore boy, sycamore boy.
That sounded so manly, bro.
Sigma.
We got 2 kids in the village now. I don't know how to make the iron farm. I'm just gonna leave them there. Any more
How do you
trees?
keep telling me about kids I've never known of?
I'm stealing some wood.
It's too many kids, Julia.
What do you mean? Those are villager kids.
You need to
They're
stop
fur
being so.
babies. What about the fur babies? Look at that, 4 of them right now.
Julia, I don't know how to tell you this, but if I appear at your doorstep with a baby every other weekend,
I don't have an adoption addiction, I swear.
So Kiki, if you do it correctly, it should be it should be perfectly 8 chunks. Like it should be like the start of 1 chunk and then the end of 8 chunks later. But it could be like the middle
Yeah.
of the chunk and then 8 chunks and then the middle of the chunk. So it's a little weird.
Isn't it always on chunk borders?
Like it's not your fault if it's like fucked up because like maps are just so stupid. Because there's like
Don't
set
map.
coordinates for like the map that you have to stand in for some fucking reason.
I got 30
Our map
hoppers.
set to be on chunks.
30
I'm having a
hoppers.
problem right now where our
End of
chests are.
It's in front of the outpost. It's in the pool in front of the outpost.
Did I really?
Just go to the front of the outpost and then you'll see it. Don't try and look from thousands of miles away.
What is MLG? What? That was kind of sick. That was kind of sick. That was a 1 mouse MLG as well. Didn't even spam it.
I do those daily. So,
Back of my day. What?
it's the middle chair. It should be like the same, or like a similar amount.
You sound so sleepy, brother.
I was mid-yawn.
Brother.
Brother.
Brother. How you do?
I don't know that song. What is that?
How many stacks did I say we need?
30.
Like 8?
Well, I know we need mathematically 16,000 blocks. That means 8,000, or no, like 6 to 7,000 sand
Yeah.
gravel. Don't say it. Oh, and we don't have a crafting table. This is
Look in the
most
chest.
frustrating.
Look in the center chest. Oh.
Oh, this is so frustrating. Sand.
Well, you can get wood from the outpost.
Man, this is poor even for pillager standards.
What?
8 more stacks, I think. Yeah. Eight more
I'm kind of a
stacks.
goat.
I'm a stack. Hacking flat. Stack back.
Stack, back, flag.
I put some string in the,
Flacca from
in the
Borderlands 2.
chest down here. Ooh-wee.
By the boys, you're an iron golem.
Upstairs.
Yeah, don't let him out. Don't let him out.
You're not getting out.
I kinda need the dispenser.
Why did I take wood? Crafting table. He's killing him!
What do we need? I am a little bit lost
I
now.
need the dispensers.
Iron golem
Yeah,
farm?
we don't have
just
enough string. Do
randomly
we have enough
hit
string?
I got the string here from my base. It's only 11, but
Arrow, barrows,
Yeah, it's not
arrow,
enough.
barrow.
We will need more. I lost my tree planting spot. What?
I like how you can hear 9,000 guardians shooting one squid.
Okay, where do we want to build this?
So, okay, like I explained exactly how to
I
build it.
explained
and
how
then-
you want to do it, but I don't know. Like, I know the plan.
Well,
but I
in
don't-
front of you is 8 chunks, and to the right of you is 8 chunks. So ideally, it would be you'll be exactly on the corner. So open the
How
map,
do we do?
like,
I only
move
have
to
like
the
2 more
right.
string. That's crazy.
move to the right, and then like open the map first before you build it.
Can only build 4
you-
more.
Like move to the right, then open it.
Good.
But we need a map. Quick realization for me.
Yeah, I have 5 and like 7 compasses.
How do you make a map? How to make...
You need a compass
Map.
and paper.
You need a compass on paper? Ugh, what is the Scoofia recipe?
Okay, I'll come.
I don't
and
have
open
all.
the map.
I need 4 more
Yeah.
though. Yeah. Just gonna have to look for string.
I'll come and open the map, and then I'll give it to you, and then all we do is we need a cartographer table, and then we can maybe dupe the map,
Ah, there's a skeleton
but
down
not
here.
set it so it's the same location.
These
Or I'll just open
spiders?
2 maps, maybe.
Oh, also everything
bow
is
drop.
black concrete powder, so we need to put water on it as well.
You put it in the
Yeah.
ocean, it turns to concrete, no?
Yeah, you put water on it.
So if I go like over here, this should be good. Yeah, okay, there's a little bit of sand, but it should be fine. There's the little small sand island, but this is a corner, which is good. This being a corner is really good because then we don't have to cover this, I don't think. So what I would do is I would go until like it's probably it's this chunk here. So this exact corner block is where it starts, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
And then it
you're
goes
right.
8
That is
chunks. It
100%
goes
right.
8 chunks forward, then 8 chunks to the right. I'm pretty sure it's to the right, yeah. So it's 8 chunks forward, 8 chunks to the right.
Yeah, this is easy to follow.
I have mining fatigue. I can't mine the wood.
Ah, whatever. I'll take it. I'll already start building the starting concrete. It's
Okay,
good
go
that
look at this
it's.
map.
Do we put it above or no? We put it inside the ocean, right? Doesn't matter. So it turns into concrete immediately.
You need it above the water. Or
Confident.
on the water.
I mean, we can. I would do
Like-
like this.
Yeah, you can do that, yeah.
Let's see. Is it black on the map now? Yep, it is.
W. Wait, W strats.
This is actually very efficient what we're doing.
W strats.
Chibi, I need 2 barrels.
Okay, I have 2 stacks.
2
I
barrels.
need 3 more.
I need $1. $1 is what I need.
No, I need 8. So I need 5 more. Well, 6 more.
I make the border and then we fill it out. Smart.
Yeah. And you can like double check the map. Like I would offhand the map and then build at the same time. Personally.
That's smart.
Because you can like double check.
Phantoms. Danny Phantom, I'm gonna get you one day.
You can like double check the map if it's like correct. I would also like chunk
these
borders
phantom-
on maybe. Yeah.
Barrel
these phantoms.
delivery.
Oh.
Wait, that's not there.
Make sure you don't
What the
misplace.
fuck? What the fuck just spawned?
It's
A
angry.
copper zombie on a 1 block?
Oh, it is. Oh, big. Yeah, we're gonna have to mine out the island a little, but it's a tiny island, I'm pretty sure. It's like 1 block wide or something.
It's like 3 blocks up and high, it shouldn't be too much.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not all. You can pick block, by the way, Cookie. I don't know if you know.
I
What-
can't
Oh, you're.
because
Oh, whoa.
I can't pick block because this is not the same block that I'm placing.
Oh, true. W aim.
Fuck you.
I'm pretty sure you built like 2 chunks, but 1 chunk was it. It's that corner of the chunk.
Oh wait, I built perfectly.
No, yeah, it's it. Jesus. Is it black on the map? I can't see.
It is. Oh. Man, who is that car out to my window? Man, where?
Highway to hell. It's a highway to hell.
Time to bridge. Time to make it fast.
Speed bridge.
Back
Oh, you
in
get
my
the double
days, we-
crouching too, GG.
Back in my days, we called this eagling, actually.
Are you like 50,000 years old?
Don't blame me. This is what it was called in the beginning stages of Minecraft.
Did I hate the double crouch? It pisses me off so much.
It is pretty annoying. Can we talk about how I'm the goat, by the way? What the fuck? That was actually pretty crazy, no?
Most people do it by looking like diagonal now and moving diagonally.
Yeah, but I'm not a bitch. I'm an OD.
But diagonally is faster and harder though. I'm pretty sure.
The mine carts are in place.
Yay! I'm gonna tell you, I don't know how to get the sheep down yet because it's a ladder. I don't think they can use ladders. I'm gonna have to make some sort of makeshift stairs. Or drop them into the water.
We'll figure it out.
I
Yeah, it's a chunky round, you know. There's like blocks below you.
W double crouch.
You know, it pisses me off so much. I can't speed bridge with it.
Oh my god, my finger always hurts from bridging though for so long.
get stronger fingers.
I mean, if you're on top of the water, you can just put on the Depth Strider boots and just walk backwards. Or swim backwards.
I hate Death Strider. I think it's the worst enchantment in Minecraft.
Why?
Completely bait in my opinion.
Like half the sheep slots are glassed up.
I think it's fine. It just sucks with a trident, but other than that, it's like really good.
Oh my god, nah, my finger hurts too much.
The issue with a lack of a dispenser is still.
Franks, you know what I realized? Look in the bottom left of the map. It looks like a skull. Looks like a skull. You know what I mean? The gap that you see on the left is like an eye hole. It's like a skull looking up.
I don't see it at all.
Wait. Let me show you.
Oh wait, I kind of get what you mean. It's like your skull lying down,
Yeah.
like taking a nap. He's like, fuck my Chungus life.
I'll send it with super shitty drawing.
No, yeah,
And
I get what you mean. Oh, I'm getting Guardian. Help.
But it looks insane, man. I don't even want to remove it because it looks like a skull.
It more looks like a decomposing Guna.
Wait, it's just becoming daytime. Fuck.
What? What do you need?
We missed nighttime to
Are
get
you a
skeleton
decomposing Guna?
Skeleton?
for the
Why do you
bows.
need skeletons?
I thought you were gonna get
For
spiders for the string with
For
the bows.
Spiders and skeletons.
Oh my
Skeletons
God,
can drop bows,
so
spiders drop
honestly,
strength.
it's like-
Ah, okay, makes sense.
Gigi, can you help with ink sacks?
I mean, we can just do it at a. We don't have to force ink sac.
I wanna build. I don't fucking wanna.
You
I don't wanna.
come. We have enough ink sacs to do like half the building. You can help already.
No, I wanna get enough so it's like I can do it. It'd be cool. It'd be like, I'm Sigma.
If we need it later on, we can just get it.
We also need a lot of item frames. Like a lot of item frames.
That's gonna need a
Oh.
lot of cows.
I have the leather if you want it.
Item
you
frames,
have-
and then
Do
we
you
also
have 10
need
stacks of leather.
we also
have
need a
2.5.
cartographer table. What's it to dupe a map?
Paper? Or is that to expand them? Or both?
I think we need a bunch of maps. Like empty
gonna-
maps.
Agnon, can you add world edit for just like 5 minutes?
Nope.
I think we need a bunch of empty maps. So we need a shit ton of compasses. So we need a shit ton of iron.
You can trade for empty maps, I believe.
We have a lot of redstone though.
Oh, my hand hurts so much. I can't play Minecraft.
We gotta take a break from Minecraft, man. We're like on a login streak lately. That's crazy.
You can go farm inks.
Also, just in case chat doesn't know, I've been actually logging
Or
in
I can learn
daily.
Nihongo.
Learn Nihongo, multitasking, always good idea.
Then I also gotta finish my ASMR video that I don't want to edit. Oh,
Brochungus Annihilator.
and tomorrow I have group therapy. Oh, life
All
sucks.
4 stacks. Bro, group therapy is, like, honestly, kind of stupid as a concept.
It
I
works
told
for
my
some.
therapist-
It works
I
for
told my
some.
therapist like 700 times I don't want a group therapy.
Did they
And she like
listen?
low-key gaslights me to have one.
You should
Like,
change
let's share our
therapists.
trauma in front of 7 other people.
That's not
Nope.
quite right. As someone who studies psychology, if your client is telling you they're not comfortable with something, they should be listening. Can you change your therapist?
She is nice about a lot of things.
All
but when it
therapies
comes
are
to group
nice,
therapy-
Cookie. All therapies are nice, okay?
Wait, what?
But whether or not they are suited to you is a different question.
Okay, that was just weird.
Here's some blocks. Just crafted a couple. I'll craft new ones.
Yeah. It's gonna look so cool though. It's gonna look so cool though.
It's gonna look so cool. Yeah, fucking, I hate therapy. I don't want therapy. It's so useless.
It's probably not the right one. Change if you can. It's really not the
Bro,
right
look
one.
at the double bobbing for me, Cookie. It's like it's so much more aggressive.
Wobble 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 wobble.
It's so impossible. Like holy shit. Is it just because I'm diagonal? Yeah, I think so. It still does it so much. Oh my god.
Chibi, I will say I hope you like the noise.
God, this pisses me off.
Is it really bad? Okay, I turned off blocks, so I don't think I'll be able to hear it. I hear the sheep barely
It's gonna
because I
be
turned
really
it down.
annoying too. It's gonna
I
be like,
turned off blocks. It should be fine. I hope. I don't know. I'll go there and take a look. And if it really sucks, I'll turn it all the way down to 0 so that I can't hear it, and I'll be fine.
This is why the solution is so terrible, and I would rather just wait till I have an observer, because an observer is one
But you
block.
still need a dispenser, no?
We are struggling to get all 16, but I think...
Yeah, but as opposed to an observer doing it once every time it needs to, a redstone
Oh,
pod
true,
will
true.
spam it over and over and over.
Oh, it is done though. It is done though.
You could just use like a daylight sensor. I feel like that would be less annoying and like more.
I've never worked with daylight
Less
sensors.
annoying,
I don't
but
know
also
what
less
it is.
rates.
It just triggers when it's daylight. And then nighttime as well, I think. But you could set it to nighttime. It'll be slower though. Like most definitely.
It would take 10,000 years to get a chest full of wool.
I mean, depends on how many sheep you have, and
One.
if one sheep,
Well-
okay, we're gonna have a problem.
Yeah, that's why we couldn't use that. Like with an
I mean,
observer, if you have one sheep, it does the job very well. Just AFK a few hours and then you get what you need, but...
But Chibi, just think of it like this: with every sheep or chicken that you add, you multiply it exponentially, the outcome of the farm.
I know, but I would rather AFK. I have like 2,000 hours in idle games. I'm fine.
You too?
I
I
do.
get what you mean.
I'm not proud of it, but I'm fine.
What's your
have,
Genshin
like-
Impact build?
I have like 6,000 hours in Touch Some Grass idle game.
I saw, I
My
was
build
like,
is
should
Yu,
I?
Xingqiu, I did have Bennett for a while, but I changed it with Kokomi. W Genshin Impact, guys? W Genshin Impact?
Me when I goon.
Bro, almost half the characters are like 14 in that game. What the fuck do you mean?
And I still sexualize them. GG.
Oh yeah, that's because it's Japan. Doesn't mean that you should go into it.
No, of course.
Of course.
So
of
like,
course.
but like, Genshin Impact players. PV, you're a Genshin Impact player.
But the game used to be so good, and now it's so shit.
You guys talking about Genshin?
Yeah.
I see. I was told
I
never to
remember
play it.
when Inazuma came out, it was so good. It was like peak Genshin Impact. And then they ruined it. I also played Honkai Impact, I played Zenless Zone Zero. Played it all. Zeno still plays Genshin Impact like every day. I wonder how he does it.
Addiction.
Dedication.
Every time I see him play, he keeps doing the same thing over and over. He keeps doing Spiral Abyss and spams it. Let's see what Zeno is doing right now. He should be online. Nope, he's not.
It's like 1, 2 a.m.
No, it's like 12 a.m. if anything. No,
It's 1 a.m.
fuck.
But he's
Yeah.
like a little different to me, I think.
Doesn't he live central capital?
I don't think he lives. I think he lives in Melbourne or Brisbane. No, he lives in Brisbane, which is below me.
I'm coming over, Grungus.
I live near Sydney, which is the capital of Australia.
I'm coming over because you've been strong for too long. Someone has to stop you.
I've been what for too long?
Strong. Someone
What
has
does
to
that
stop you.
It's almost night.
Why are you removing the skull? First thing you do. Why does it have to be the skull? Why?
He chose violence. He's like, nope.
Fuck you, fuck you.
The
What if-
only
what
thing
if
I
I'm-
like about this shitty square.
What if I'm just building it? What if I'm building the skull with the concrete?
You're not building the skull.
What if I am? What if I am?
What if I'm painting the Mona Lisa using only the black color?
What if I am? What if I am? You'd never know.
Yeah,
Maybe
I wouldn't because everything is fucking black.
Yeah, but maybe I have the talent to paint a Mona Lisa. You would just never know. Think about
Maybe
it.
you are the Mona Lisa.
Oh,
What do we
I want to be a Mona Lisa the third.
Maybe when I make Lisa more.
Chill out, liberal. Chill out. It's called a
I could not date anyone named Lisa.
Why is like one of the most common German names.
Because I would just make Mona Lisa jokes just constantly.
Fucking poor Lisa, what'd she do?
I don't know.
She moaned.
Yeah. Or Elisa, if anyone's named that.
What do you mean? Elise? Elizabeth? That's what
It's
you
my
call her name.
time. It's my time.
string
Nah,
You say
sporters.
it like that's a freak name.
it is. Bro.
According to Grungus, everyone who's named Elizabeth is a freak.
Wow, discrimination.
Okay, I'm getting. There's ops on my block.
Slide him!
The ops are
Smirk him!
getting. The
Slime
ops
him.
are getting me.
Slime him!
Kiki, there's flying ops.
Yeah, I get it. You want to tell me again?
There's a creeper.
Okay, that's different. What the fuck?
There's a zombie blocking my path. Get out of the way.
Fighter.
When you come for a restock, I put a lot of concrete in the chest already.
Oh, I hear the ticking sounds. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Tuk 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 tuk.
Tick 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 tick. Can you guys sleep?
No, we need bows.
Why do you need bows? Craft them on
For
the fucking villager.
dispensers.
You can get 700 bows on the villager.
Right. That.
A Fletcher
Yes.
sells you so many.
Judy, can you sleep? Oh, hey, what's up?
What's up, man? You new here?
Yeah, my ops are on the block. Watch out. When I found the method though,
Yo, I'm
it's you go in
sleeping.
the water.
I need one more
You go
sleep.
in the water and then you do 3 at a time.
I can only hold 2 at once. My fingers are small. I got an ender pearl. I got 3 ender pearls. We got another.
What?
Let's go to the end.
Ah, fucking creeper. Oh. Can you fuck off?
When all these
skeleton?
zombies attacking
Another?
me, it scares me. JB, if you could be an animal, what animal would you be?
If I could be an animal
Yeah,
in Minecraft or like
just in general.
literal, fish.
Fish.
You would, out of all animals, you would want to be a fish?
Yeah.
That's so unexpected. That is like, what?
That's because they're like the first, I would say, complex life forms in a sense. Everything starts as a fish, yes?
Yeah, but you're not gonna evolve. You're just gonna stay a fish.
Yeah, I know exactly. Why would I want, like, knowledge when ignorance is bliss? Just eat me already,
Oh my god, goosebumps. But you could be like an adorable house cat who like gets all of pets and stuff.
I'm already one. I'm just a human version of it.
You're a human fish cat?
Fish cat? Oh, if there's one such mythical creature, I would like to be it, yes.
There's a gift that Grunkus sent me. Yeah, okay, yeah. Grunkus sent me a certain gift.
What?
I'm getting a phone call.
Okay, hold on. Where is it? Yeah, that exact thing I just sent Cookie earlier, no? She woke up, first thing she sent me a gif of like the cat, and then I sent her this. This is exactly what I want to be, dude. Valid.
Why are there 2 skeletons down here?
I'm back. Did anyone talk behind my back and like hate me?
No, why would they?
Because everyone hates me.
No, they
Pastels,
don't.
there's shadows in my room. Oh yeah, did you see the GIF?
Yes, it's the one that I sent you
Did you send that to me?
earlier when you just woke up and you were like, cat gifts.
Alright, let me scroll up when I woke up. Oh my god, you did send me catfish.
Literal catfish,
What?
not like the ugly one, but like this one. I wanna be this one. So adorable.
There's no way. I saw that from Grunkus and oh my god.
I
was
sent
it
it
called?
first. I sent it first.
You're such a fish, cat. You're such a fish, meow.
Meow.
Point proven. Chibi, I wish I could buy your expensive cat food, but I'm poor as fuck, so it's gonna have to be a cat of tuna, I'm sorry.
Canned tuna, still better than what I eat.
What do you normally eat?
My rice drowned again. I don't know what I did wrong with the rice cooker. I swear to God.
Chibi, how do you drown? It's. I have enough theory. I can't do it anymore. I can't do.
You're asking me, and I'm asking people, how do you even cook regular rice? Actually, this is not regular. This is like the expensive multi-grain, very nutritious rice that someone gifted me. But then
Put it in boiling water.
I put it in the rice cooker, but then it drowned again. I'm like, what is wrong with this rice?
It's impossible to drown rice, Chibi.
I did it multiple times. Explain that. It's like an...
Do you like take it out of the plastic package?
Yes, I did. I washed it twice. I put it
What?
in.
Don't do
I was...
that.
What?
There's your mistake. Don't put it out the plastic.
What? No, you have to put it in the rice bin, no? Wait, what are you talking about? I'm so lost. Yeah, but anyways, rice drowned. I'm just like, ah. It's okay, I eat porridge.
The rice cooker might be different.
It could be. I don't know what is with this rice cooker, but it has been giving problems, so...
Try to, like, fuck your rice cooker. Maybe it's broken. Just try to boil it. It's so much more efficient anyway. Rice cooker is just for people who are really bored. Trust me, Chibi, please boil it, okay? Please. Do you see how cool I build? People's building? What do you build? You build like, I don't know.
You know what the repeater things below sound like to me? It reminds me of a temple. The ones where the monks would smack that wooden thing and they chant. Yeah. We actually have some of those.
They hit like the bell.
Not a bell, like there
Repeaters don't
is a
make noise.
wooden
You mean
thing
the
that they smack.
dispensers?
There's a what?
The repeaters don't make any noise. Do you mean the dispensers?
Whatever that's making that clicking sound.
Yeah, the dispensers.
It literally sounds like the things that they play at the temple when the monks are chanting. It's just like a shell, like a wooden shell. Yeah, it sounds like that. This is a meditation place right now. No, don't escape. No, come back. Ah. It's okay. I have the magic stuff. We have weed. Look at this grass, magical grass. Come here. Get back in. Man, I'm gonna fall asleep in this sheep gay parade with the tick 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 going on there.
Is that like ASMR to you?
Kinda. Normally I have to listen to rock, J-rock or something, you know, alternative rock. Then this kind of works too because the sheep is in the background. No. It's okay. I can live in Minecraft. I'm fine. I would probably prefer it too.
It's okay. Minecraft is basically real life anyway.
No! No! Okay, once I'm done with the roof of this place, I will go to sleep and end stream, guys.
Um,
Yes.
know.
What do you need?
That's a lot of blocks.
Oh, Grungus question.
I know it's a lot of blocks.
Oh yeah, that's why we need it, because we can't place it.
Don't.
Alright guys, so that's gonna be it for today. I have passed my curfew, which kind of sucks, but anyway, so I'm gonna log off right now. Server is actually free to join, so for those of you who want to join, hold on, let me just try and find it. Where is it? Alright, the server invite is expired. It's probably expired. Hold on. How do I make can I create an invite? Invite to server. Edit link, no limit. Never expire. Generate new link. Okay, so I'm gonna throw this link here. Alright, for the people who want to join, this is the link. Get the Discord, go and read all the rules of TOS, and then learn how to use the map, learn how to use the claims, don't ask useless questions, and don't grieve. This is a small community and server, so yes, this is it. So that's all for me today. Most of my other streams might be like this, just kind of chill with the same guys. I need to break the Minecraft streak, like, for real. This is very unhealthy. I've been logging in daily since like this started, and like hours actually, so that's kind of, but at the very least, like, one project is done. I do have villages. I want to make iron farms. Like, I'll do little projects, like step at a time. Yes, I won't do like the whole thing all at once. So I'll see you guys again when I do see you guys. I'll be busy like probably for the rest of the week, except maybe weekends. So like next 2 days I'll probably be busy. I don't know if I can log in, but that's fine. I'm gonna break the streak. That's all from me. Thank you for joining me today. Good night, everybody. Bye bye.